Good morning. It's been a while. So I wanted you to look at, this is our natural landscape here in northern Arizona. So you can see not much. So imagine you're looking at your yard and this is what it looks like. And you're going, I want to grow something. Well, you're looking at clay. You're looking at soil that has very little nutrients and no acid. So where do we go? I'm going to introduce you to this little guy here. It's called Hearts Lie Bleeding, and it is an amaranth. This can make a flower when you dry it out. What happens when you have a beautiful amaranth that you got to grow, and by the way, it does love our soil for some reason. When you grow one, this is another one. This is a purple amaranth. And it's starting to put on its tendrils, its flowers over here. When you just go, I don't want to be bothered. I just had one big one. And so you just let it fall over. It makes many. Let me go around this. Wow. It makes many little babies. I literally have a little tiny field of amaranth here. So they're all from seeds that dropped. They popped up on their own even before I started putting in the garden. And they're absolutely beautiful. Now, every year, I'm experimenting, and I have found that every 3 years here of growing, you need to completely regenerate the soil. So, first of all, it's going to take you 3 years. That's taking everything that you can, any type of compost. If you raise chickens, you're going to be taking that chicken poo. You're going to make compost piles. You're going to do everything you can. And you're going to rototill it into that soil. Break up that soil and get it in there before you can even grow anything. It's not going to want to grow. Sometimes squash will come up before the 3-year mark, but nothing else is going to grow for you. I will tell you, even in pots, I struggle with strawberries. One day I will figure it out. I will have an answer. So in between those years, you want to put up raised beds, okay? And once you're done with the season, you're going to take all that soil from the raised beds. Good morning, beautiful. And you're going to go ahead and throw it into your ground. Eventually, at some point in time, I'll just have a great growing area straight into the ground. But until then, and I can't tell you how long it's going to take. It's not going to happen. We just don't. You have to put everything you can. Anything that will pull the moisture into the soil, anything that will bring up the acid in the soil, anything that will put in any type of nutrients into the soil. As you can see, I've got a couple of squashes there. And then over here, you'll see a lot of burrows. And that one is Swiss chard. Then I have some radishes. I have some beets. You'll notice there's clusters. I have already pulled my first set of the season on the beets and the radishes and stuff. And all the new ones and all the empty spots, I have put in new seed to continue for the last part of the season. All right. People will tell you all sorts of interesting things about the desert gardening, and I'm not sure where they're, I'm sure it's trial and error, much like mine. This year I'm not having a lot of good luck with my tomato plants. They should be triple the size that they are, and they should be, and I always grow tomatoes and peppers in buckets. But anyway, I don't know where these people get their information other than trial and error, but it doesn't work here. They'll tell you when to plant, how to plant, all that wonderful stuff. And I have tried their techniques, and it never, ever, ever works. These are squashes here along my fence line. And you'll see poking in there some volunteer tomato plants. Those volunteered out of my last year's fall off. Yes, I tend to get lazy and I go, okay, I'm done. And they volunteered to come back up. But squashes always do well. You will have to give them some nutrients. I have several different ways that I give nutrients. I do take when I do my chicken coops, I put in alfalfa, because the birds will eat on it. And you'll see here, I have a rabbit. That's Roger's droppings. I gather them up. This is why I have Roger. Hi, Roger. Good morning. Oh, you're going to be shy? You going to be shy, little buddy? I keep all of Roger's droppings for right now. Anytime I feel something needs some nutrients, I give it this, the rabbit poo, because it's not hot and it's really good fertilizer. Now in my chicken coops, I use a lot of the alfalfa, and this is basically what I've scraped out of the chicken coop a couple of weeks ago. It's starting to compost down. I will be moving that into my compost pile. All of this will come back and go straight into this garden during the winter, so they can get down in that soil. In here I have peanuts. They're not quite popping quite yet. I have found with peanuts, I need to plant them when they're hot, when the soil's hot, and then as the soil starts to cool off, they will come up. But they need that initial zap of heat to get going. And of course, I have voluntary sunflowers. I have planted sunflowers. Anything I can do, it's to feed the chickens. I have some sweet potatoes in here, but I got a great big sunflower that popped up. I have a few of these little trees over here planted sporadically. I got the seedlings a couple of years ago, and because they were native grown, I don't know where they were transplanted from, but they've already adapted, so I took the saplings and I put them in sporadically. And my apple tree, it struggles a little bit and then it comes back. It's only 3 years old. I think it's doing fabulous. I also have found out that bamboo grows wonderfully in our soil. So if you're looking for a living fence, the bamboo is the way to go. Just get it already, a good size before you stick it in. Seeds are hard to populate here, so don't start from seed. You're not going to get them to grow. Well, you might. I'm never going to tell anybody you're not going to do it. Everybody's got to talk this morning. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Aplak. All right. But you can see over here where I did some planting about a week ago. Little things are starting to pop up. And this is the second gen. Or the second cycle. All right, you look at this nasty thing. This is cow patties that I've soaked into water. That will get dumped after all of it brews. Same thing in those 2 blue barrels into this big pile over here that has native dirt. It's got clippings. It's got coffee grounds. It's got, this is my compost right here. And all of that will start to get shoveled into the garden when I'm done growing for the season. Right around the beginning of November. And then it'll sit there November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Now, see what I mean about my tomato plants? They're just not, they should be double the size that they are right now. I'm not sure what's going on this year, but it happens. They will give me fruit probably September this year. So it's going to be a long wait. Everything is trial and torment. And I can only give you the advice of what I can give you. Tomatoes, you're not going to get them to grow in the ground. You're just not. Neither are your peppers or your eggplants or your... this was potatoes, and I replanted because I harvested my potatoes. Now, I get potatoes, but they're going to be small. So since I knew that after trial, I went ahead and planted red potatoes and the little golden potatoes. And I got a pretty good little harvest off of it. Next year I'll go bigger. I always go small when I give it a plant. And I will use anything. I will use tires. I will use, right now I've got beans coming up in here. Beans and late squash. Right now is about the time, and we're in the end of July, beginning of August, to put in your beans. They like the heat to come up, and then by the time the plant comes up and wants to bear you fruit, the heat will go away. We'll be into September, and it likes that. So if you want to grow beans, that's how you do it. If you grow them early in the season, what will happen, like if you put them in May, when June comes along and we start getting those nice severe heats, what will happen is they'll just die. They won't give you any fruit. They'll just die. That's the same thing with peas. Same thing with snap peas. They don't like it. When they want to give you fruit, they don't want to struggle with the heat. That is one of the main things. Oh, man. Took me a minute. I might be slow to figure it all out. So, when do I start planting? I don't put a seed out or a plant out or any of that until after Mother's Day. Welcome to Northern Arizona. What's going to happen? It happens every year. The week of Mother's Day, the weekend of Mother's Day, we are going to get a freeze. And anything you have outside is going to die. Don't put anything in the ground. Don't put any plants out. Don't do any of that until after Mother's Day. Then get it in as quickly as you can. You want, by that first week of June, you want to have all your plants out. You want them to kind of establish, get used to it, get hardened, and start growing before we get real heat, which is going to be about the 3rd week of June. So, on that first initial plant, you need to water once a day, either early in the morning or just before the sun goes down. Then once we get into late June, you have to water twice a day. You're going to have to water first thing in the morning and first thing before the sun goes down. By doing that, your plants will live I always theorize and I tell people that first water is just to let them beat the heat. Then your second water is the water that they need to drink up. That's my rule of thumb up until mid-September, and then you can go back down to watering once a day. And you should be getting by then lots of fruit. You should have your second grow going on. You should have your beets coming up. Those are going to be the sweetest beets of the year because they like to have a little bit of that cold snap. If you can keep those beets in the ground through October, oh, they're going to be absolutely wonderful. So that's all I can say. I did notice that, this is my 10th year of gardening in this garden. And this is also the first year I've seen honeybees. And I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for the honeybees. They finally found me. They finally found that this is a good place to be. And so next spring, I am going to be starting beekeeping, which should be exciting. So I hope I answered somebody's questions. If you have questions, it's tough. Now remember, every 3 years, you're going to have to give your ground a rest. So even if you want to take part of your garden and just not plant in it, just fertilize it, and half of the garden where you plant it and fertilize it, go ahead. Just reverse crop and get that fertilization going. If you're like me, above ground, and I'll take all that composted soil, this good richness, and I'll throw it into my ground, and I'll do another raised bed next year, and then the following year, I'll be back to just full ground planting. That's all I have for today. Love you. Good luck. And let me know how your garden's growing. Mine looks a little small compared to previous years, but I'm still very happy with it. And I tried a whole lot of new techniques this year. As you can see, I got lettuce finally. It had to be really rich soil. By the way, this is another one. This is rhubarb, and it likes our native soil. So give it a shot. Sunflowers love our native soil. If you have chickens, you probably have sunflowers growing around your yard anyway. The little birds still am out of my chicken coop, and go ahead and share into the desert. And definitely, if you want a beautiful plant and you want to give growing a type of flower a try, definitely try that amaranth. It's gorgeous. Everybody wants to know what it is. It's kind of exotic looking, and it loves Northern Arizona. Until next time, take care.